Not do that.
Well, I'm hungry. Bowling or what are you doing? I didn't think it was like that far.
You're probably good at shuffleboard too. Okay. All right. We're 4 minutes late, 6:04, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll start with, I guess I should say, it's Francis City Council meeting, June 13th, 2024. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Shall we?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll go first to the consent agenda for approval of the invoice register and the minutes. So invoice register dated today and the minutes from the May 9th city council meeting. Any questions, concerns, discussion on either of those items?
Hey, Jeremy.
Yes, sir.
Nothing we need to add. For Buster Construction, $361,924.10. That's the work they've done for last month. So
Okay.
the architects approved all that. So. Just this is not quick enough.
I was concentrating.
The architects approved the payment or approved the work?
Both.
All right.
Well, I'll make a motion to pass the minutes of last meeting and the check register with the Webster check added onto it for 6/13/24. The date of 6/13/24, not that was right.
Perfect.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Send this down if you'll initial it. Next item will go to public comment. This is for any comment on any issue that is not on the agenda. If there's anyone who would like to make a comment or address an issue that's not on the agenda. Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and move on. With your consent, I'd like to move the public hearings back just a touch and move item number 5A and 5B up just a little bit so we have, we get those out of the way first. Any issues with that? Okay, well, let's start with the annexation intent from Stewart Ranch. It's actually not Stewart Ranch, so right?
It's Lone Rock.
Okay. Pete, Rex?
Yep.
And you want to give us the staff report on that, and we'll go from there.
Sure. So, you flip over to the map of where this is. It is really close to the Stewart Ranches subdivision, and I'm kind of calling it the Stewart Estates or Lone Rock at this point, but we can decide on that later, I guess, for sure. So, there's currently 4 lots that are in the county. They are just northwest of the 35 Rocky Mountain Way intersection. They comprise 23.28 acres, and they're just on that western side of our annexation declaration area. So they're proposing to develop this as an Ag 1 conservation subdivision, which is the same zoning as Stewart Ranch is. Approximately half of the land is proposed to be developed into lots, and the remaining will be open space held in a conservation easement. So previously, the city council approved 4 water and sewer hookups for this property. I think that was a couple of years ago, and it is in the county, but the council decided to give them 4 hookups. So as far as the annexation process, we've been through this quite a bit lately. So most of you are familiar with all the steps a little bit. So on this petition, we are on step 3, which is where we get to decide whether to accept the petition for further consideration or to deny it. They have submitted a concept plan with this petition, but that doesn't necessarily mean that would be what we have to zone it as or how we have to develop it. There's a lot of time between accepting the petition and talking about it and when it would actually be approved, and a lot of negotiations that could go into that. So this is just kind of a starting point, so keep that in mind and don't get too into the details on the concept plan for right now, I guess. So looking at the goals of the general plan, there are a few that I pulled out of the first land use goal that seem applicable to this project. The first is that we encourage residential development to occur in conservation subdivisions, preserving open space. Other policy is to support continuation of agricultural land uses and transits. And last, to maintain an open space system that enhances quality of life, is interconnected, preserves environmental quality, and protects development of natural assets. So the applicants are planning a conservation subdivision following that first general plan guidance we talked about. And they are planning to have over half of the land held in a conservation easement as open space for perpetuity. But then there will be about another half that will no longer be used for agriculture. So that is a little bit, against the second policy, which is to support continuation. On the one hand, it keeps the open space, but then we are losing that a little bit. Although it is already zoned for 4 lots in the county, so I don't know that it's even being used for agriculture at this point. The open space and trails in this proposed annexation will be connected to open space and trails in Stewart Ranches. So it does also meet that goal of interconnecting the trails and the open space. The second land use goal is to carefully plan for growth, ensuring development occurs in suitable locations. And there's 3 policies that are applicable to this application. First, prioritize development within the existing Francis boundaries. Second, guide land use and growth decisions through application of the general plan, zoning map, and future land use map. And third, density increases should be considered only upon demonstration of adequate infrastructure, resource availability, and benefit. So as we've discussed over the past couple of years, there are over 500 entitled housing units within current city boundaries that haven't applied for a building permit yet. So we might want to fill those areas first, although we do have limited control over when they go. The future land use map, looking at that, this does show the area being zoned Ag 2. And then if the petition is accepted for further consideration, the city will need to evaluate whether it can provide water and sewer infrastructure for the additional 22 units. Reminding you that we've already approved 4. And of course, the developer will have to turn in adequate water shares to supply water for the development and all the infrastructure for the development. So there are several benefits of this annexation: the conserved open space, interconnected trail system open space, and the consistency with the design development concept at Stewart Ranches. Looking at the concept plan a little bit more, I'm going to scroll to that. This is the survey, which is basically the same land. It is the same land I showed you in the other one. Okay, and this is the concept plan. So let's talk about this. So part of what my job is as the planner is prior to taking any action on a petition, I have to review the application and the survey and evaluate the feasibility of the subject expansion of the city's boundaries. So just starting to do that now, taking a little bit of a look at it. Some of the guidance we have is to avoid gaps or overlaps with an expansion of area of living municipalities. This isn't close to any other municipalities' declaration boundaries. We have to look at our population growth projections for the next 20 years. And the most recent projections I received from Summit County show that we'd be growing by about 1,000 in the next 20 years. And so if we estimate 2 people per household, we need about 500 new units, which again, we already have title 500 units in the city. And then the utilities, all of the services that we need to provide, we have to look at the feasibility of that. We have already agreed to provide 4 connections. The main road to access these lots is Rocky Mountain Way off of SR 35, and that road can reasonably accommodate increased traffic in this development. Okay, I did mention earlier that the future land use map shows us being zoned Ag 2, and they are requesting Ag 1 zoning. I think you all understand how conservation subdivisions work, that they cluster development and other areas are left as open space. This concept plan is showing 26 units, which is the number that they would be able to build if it's zoned Ag 1. So that's the 23 base units, plus they get 3 density units for building as a conservation subdivision. So 26 total. So from my look at this, it seems like it is meeting all of the requirements of an Ag 1 conservation subdivision. I really don't have any concerns about the concept plan. It looks like it works with our code. So my recommendation is just for you all to keep in mind that annexation is legislative, and your decision to accept or deny the petition is up to you. You're completely at your discretion. If you do decide to accept the petition, just make sure it's meeting the plan, the goals of the general plan, the city code, and has some kind of potential benefit to the city. There's no public hearing right now for this item. If we accept the petition, later on there will be, as we go to planning commission and come back to city council, we'll have a public hearing at that point. So that's it for me.
What is the, how does the bonus density change if it stays Ag 2?
Let's see. Haven't had any conservation subdivisions yet with Ag 2 zoning, so not on the top of my mind. The base density is 1 lot per 2 acres, so that will take it, so it's 23-ish acres, so then you divide 23 by 2, so you're at
11.
12, yeah.
11 point something.
Yeah, so you end up about 13 total
Just on
lots.
base density, yeah, you probably end up about 13. They are required to have more open space with an Ag 2, so I'm just pulling that up. So with Ag 2, they're required to have at least 60% of open space, but then they get a 20% incentive multiplier. So it would be acreage divided by 2 times 20% as the incentive. So. So they'd be 13, it's really close to 14. It's like 13.968, but we always go down, so 13. So basically half.
All right. Any questions, discussion from council before we,
And I don't know if the applicant wants.
yeah, I was gonna say, before we hear from the applicant.
Okay, I see, never mind.
Any questions, concerns?
Well, I was just thinking along the lines of that too, is if it's currently 4 lots,
Correct.
okay? And then if our future map is for 2-acre lots, then personally, I don't know why we would go down. Are we just gonna keep shrinking for future land use map just so that we can put in more homes, or are we gonna try and keep it to what it is? Because we'll eventually just get all the way to the edges and everything will be half acres, if that's what we keep doing. So I'm not really for continuing to change our zoning for more density. So for me, like 26 homes compared to 13, I'd rather have 13. So those are my comments and thoughts.
Okay, anyone else?
I agree with Clayton. I don't like this concept at all, and I don't like just cutting them down. And I know this concept plan is just, pulled out of here, but I really, really don't like it. I mean, open space is here, open space is here. It's not all together. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's open, but it's not really, I don't know if any of you even understand what I'm saying. It is open space, but not really, because it's just kind of, oh, there's a little field over behind my 5 houses over here, and there's a little bit over here too, so I would just say, leave it at the 4, and what you have right there, but then you're just building for multi-millionaires if you do that. And we need smaller affordable, so we're kind of over in between a rock and a hard place. So,
Yeah, I don't know if
But I-
that's affordable.
no, I don't think these even will be, but
I mean, I would look at annexation because it is in our declaration, right?
yeah.
But to chop down our zoning, I wouldn't be interested in that part of it. Like if they want to come in for Act 2, instead of 4 lots, there's 13. I
Yeah,
would definitely consider that, but 26 is too big of a bite for me right now.
Okay, anyone else? You guys have anything to add?
Sure. You know me.
It's all yours. Will you just come up here so we can make sure the recorder gets it?
Sure. Good evening. For those of you who don't know, my name is Pete Gilwald. I'm a landscape architect, land planner. I did the original master plan for Stewart Ranch, helped write the conservation code years and years ago. And so I want to thank you all for bumping me up on the agenda, because I do have to catch a flight at some point here this evening and head back east. So again, thank you for all that. Just as a quick background of how we got to where we are today, it's a 4-lot subdivision. It's actually 2 separate plats, so there's 2 lots in each plat. And we looked at trying to reconfigure those 4 lots through the county. And once you dissolve the plats, then you go back to base density, which is 1 unit per 10 acres. So we basically be losing 2 lots if we went back to try to shift lot lines around or whatever. So we kind of stuck with that. We did meet a long time ago with Mayor Ames and the city planner at that time to talk about annexation. And we were kind of told, maybe that's not a good time to consider that. So we put it on the back burner. We put it on the market to sell the 4 lots. And over the last 2 to 3 years of trying to sell them, we got 0 activity on those 4 lots. And in the meantime, we did install the water and sewer, as Katie mentioned, as far as servicing those 4 lots. So that's kind of the background of where we were. So we figured that, at this point, we haven't sold anything, and so maybe now would be a good time to come back in and take another bite at the apple and see if there's some way to incorporate the project into Stewart Ranch as part of just a continuation. It's all under the same ownership. So that's kind of the background of how we got here today. As Katie pointed out, there's 4 basic options of coming in as an annexation: Ag 1, Ag 1 conservation, Ag 2, or Ag 2 conservation. We chose to go the Ag 1 because it's consistent with what we already have in Stewart Ranch. So you're right, 26 lots is the most you can get under an Ag 1 conservation. And just to give you some insight on the plan, again, it's a concept. It's going to be fleshed out more so as we move forward. But basically, the existing road now comes in and ends in the cul-de-sac right there. So my road is following the existing road that's out there today and the utilities that are out there today. This road can do a lot of different things. And the other big challenge we have is we've been told by UDOT we cannot get access on 35. So we can't punch another access onto the state road. So in order to accommodate this number of lots, anything 12 or more, it needs 2 points of access. So both of our access points are internal to Stewart Ranch. So again, it's not going to be another series of turn lanes on 35 and so on and so forth. We show the trails. This thing could change a lot. I can understand your concern about as they call significant open space, and maybe. So what we've looked at is the existing canal or Russell ditch is running through there. So pretty much everything from the ditch up is in open space. So as you're driving by, you're not looking at the back of homes. And then as we got further this way, the lots got bigger. So again, we reduced the density and put more of the homes adjacent to the existing homes in Stewart Ranch. So again, trying to transition from a bigger lot closer to the road to smaller lots further away. Under an Ag 2 conservation, we would get about 13 lots would be the most we could do. There may be some benefits for us if we decided to go with fewer lots and then we only need to have 1 access road going in. So there may be some trade-offs that benefit us, as well as addressing some of your concerns about the overall density. So again, I'm going to be brief. So again, it was just more, we tried to figure out how to do this. We did have one person interested in the lot for horses, but he thought it was too close to the road, so he bailed. But so again, we're looking to try to find the best solution that helps us move forward and provides, again, some revenue for the city in terms of annexation fees and so on and so forth. So again, I think these are all the community benefits and things we can talk about. And we would really appreciate the opportunity to continue this dialogue and go to the planning commission to start to sort of work through all these concerns and issues. So, do you have any questions?
I just have one.
Sure.
Just so I can get an idea if I know what you're talking about. I was driving through there a week ago. Is this the area that has the nice new white fencing already kind of around it?
Correct. We ran fencing all along Russell Ditch all the way.
Yeah. Well, my wife just loved that area. She was thinking we need to get one of these lots. Well, I'll find out what it's all about first.
I know years ago, the elk certainly didn't like the fences. They kept busting through it and knocking out rails. But again, that was again part of our chance to enhance the property and give it a little bit of curb appeal.
I brought a rep seat with me if you want to meet me.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments, or concerns from council? Basically, we just got to decide if we're willing to entertain this idea or what. We don't even have to necessarily decide if we're only willing to consider it based on potential zoning. We can have those discussions as we go, but the main question tonight is, are we willing to entertain the option or whatever you'd like to call it in order to to annex the property, and then we can work on concepts later, so. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
For me personally, I think as it currently stands, I'm not interested in doing it. I don't want to I want that to be out there because I don't want, the planning commission to have more on their plate if I'm personally just gonna say, I don't like how it is, for what that's worth.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, just a question. If tonight, our job, if we okay or approve this and where they can move on to the next step, would we still have the option to discuss with the fine gentleman to maybe do ag two? Or does that have to be settled tonight?
No, absolutely. So basically tonight, the only thing we're doing is accepting the petition to annex. So all of the details, whether it's Ag 1, Ag 2, what the concept looks like,
All that can be decided.
all of that can be discussed later. This is literally just us saying, yes, we're willing to consider this.
And we don't have to annex it down the road. We could get to the end of this process and decide, no, we don't want to. But it gives you a chance right now to say, if you're not interested at all, like, we don't want to spend any time on this, then that gives you a chance to do that.
Right. Well, and honestly, if that is the answer, that's the right thing to do, because that way the applicant isn't spending a bunch of money researching and doing engineering and all those things just for us to say no down the road anyway. So obviously they know that's a risk that they take anyway, but if we're not interested, now is the time to say so. Anything else from council?
Scott, our infrastructure is okay?
Yeah, we got a big line through there for the water line, the sewer's there. It's all right there. Like I said, they've installed it to the end of the cul-de-sac as it is right now.
Well, to help these fine gentlemen make a decision, I kind of agree with Clayton. I'd like to see less density. So we have eliminated some of the stress on our infrastructure if we only had 13. I don't know if that would be something they would entertain, but I'm kind of like everybody else with the 26. I'm a little apprehensive. The 13, I'd be more willing to go along with. And again, that's just the general information, so you guys kind of know where we're coming from.
As far as the annexation, the map you've got that shows the blue boundary and the green annexation declaration.
It doesn't agree with Stewart's.
Yeah, it's not showing accurate. That's why I was wondering if I was missing something that.
It doesn't show Sheer Branch right now.
I'm wondering if, one of the questions I have, I guess, is, I recognize that it's within our annexation declaration area. However, what is it, is this a deal where it squares up our boundary lines and makes a difference that way? What's the impact long term if we say no, we're not uninterested? Gee, I can't even speak. Or is there an impact long term?
I guess if the people between there and South Little Way, if they ever came in, leave a spot between Stewart Ranches, Highway 30, 35, and Stewart Ranches, if we didn't annex it, and we annexed the people to the west, then there would be a hole there that wouldn't be in the city.
Right. Well, or it may get drug in based on land.
Yeah, or it could run over land.
There's a possibility of that happening. If someone else comes later and says, well, we'd like to annex all of this, that land mass may require that they get drug in like we've seen in the past.
Yeah, this is our current zoning map, and this is accurate. So, can't really zoom in on it, but the area we're looking at would be like right here underneath this wing, I guess you want to call it.
Right.
It's definitely, very, kind of almost, at least on two sides, it's on the city boundary.
And on two sides of this, we have South Summit Cemetery owned land.
Right.
So again, that's not even land that I would suspect would ever be developed in the future. So I think this parcel is kind of the stopping point moving north along 35 along that corridor.
There you go. Okay. I look at these in a couple of different ways. You know, there is some that would be pretty minimal benefit, you know, with annexation fees and things like that, that help fund some things within the city, you know, and help offset that impact. I guess for me, my biggest concern is that we're kind of in a situation where we have so many things going on. We have so many pieces of property that, you know, we have other annexation petitions. We have a lot of things to consider. And while I appreciate the fact that, you know, if we were to bring that in at Ag 2, we can at least preserve some of that property. You know, if it stays as 4 lots in the county, I kind of like the number 4 a lot better than even 13. I know that sounds a little harsh, but at the end of the day, I feel like the world's closing in around us, and I'm not sure I'm 100% opposed to considering it, but I'm also not excited about, you know, some of those possibilities. So I don't take that personally. That's not against you guys.
No, I get it.
It's one of those things that's, man, I worry about how many lots there are going in. So anyway, that's kind of my opinion. Anything else before we move forward?
Like I said, I think you guys hear it's gonna be a hard sell. And what our concerns are, like, if it's not the Ag 2, I'm probably not interested at all. If you wanna spend the time to do it, I'll listen to you again, but that's up to you guys. But it's gonna be a hard sell, I think.
Well, I think that's our goal, is just to be able to have a dialogue. And if it means changing where we are today to something different, you know, we're more than open to just having a discussion. That's all we're asking for.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'll take a motion whether to accept or deny the petition for annexation. What do we want to officially call this? I'm just going to call it item 5A.
I'll motion to accept the petition for annexation on 5A.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Shannon?
Aye.
I'm a nay. Sam?
Aye.
Nay.
Okay, that's 2 to 3, so passes. You got that vote?
I think so.
Clint and I were descending votes. Okay, all right. Thanks, guys. Thank you, appreciate it.
I have more work to do now.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much again for changing up the agenda, and Katie will be in touch.
Hey, have a good trip.
No problem, thank you, thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Hope you make your flight.
Oh, I'm sure. There's no speed limit I can't surpass.
That's
There's
true.
Night.
Jeremy just notified all the sheriffs here and there.
That's right, drive slow. Okay, next thing, anybody have any, issue with moving, item 5C to the next item?
Nope.
Since the applicant is here and the rest of the public is not for our public hearings and other items, so we just want to get that one out of the way.
Feel free to
Unless you
stay.
want to wait.
Unless of course you want to wait around.
I don't know how much you want to hear about the budget, but that's up to you.
All right, if there's no problem with that, we'll move forward with item 5C, the public utility processing program for Brent Morgan. There's a resolution attached with that. Katie?
Right, so have a staff report or anything, it's not really that kind of item. Mr. Morgan has been talking to me lately, he'd like to build a accessory building on his land. It's gonna be like a garage, just no living space. He would like to build it in this corner, this is his lot here, B16. He'd like to build it in this corner, and there is, you can see these little dashed lines, that's a public utility easement. And the easement on the back is 10 feet, on the side it's 7. And he would like to build it in accordance with our code for the residential house zone, which says it has to be at least 5 feet from the boundary line. So we have done this before where we've given them a permit to encroach in the easement. He's asking something similar that we've approved for other people in the past. This permit basically says that in the future, if the public utility companies do need that easement, then he'll have to move his structure. But he has tried to reduce that risk, something for that happening quite a bit by talking with all the utility companies. He's brought letters from each of the, that say that, that they don't have utilities there currently. So the risk is really, really slight that they'd ever need to use that area. So there's a resolution that goes along with the permit. He's already signed the permit. The resolution gives the mayor permission to sign the permit.
Okay.
Any other questions for me here?
I don't have any. Anybody else have any questions, comments?
That stays within the lot line, it doesn't encroach out on that bigger easement, I'm guessing that's the bike park.
Yeah, so this is the park here.
So that's our emergency vehicle access area right there.
It is, yeah, but he'll be within his property. In fact, he'll be 5 feet from his
Okay.
property line.
It's just the dash line inside his property.
Exactly,
Okay.
yeah, that little dash line is where he's
Okay.
gonna be encroaching a little bit.
You know, we used to have, we usually require 10-foot PUD, but now we require 5-foot PUDs on the side things.
Right, if we had a new subdivision, we would do 5 feet in the back and on the side, we wouldn't do the 10 or the 7.
Anything that you need to add to that? Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
I'll make a motion if we grant the mayor permission to sign resolution number 2024-03.
Hold on. Make your motion that we pass resolution number 2024-03, giving me permission to sign the encroachment permit.
Okay. I will make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-3, giving the mayor permission to sign the permit.
Perfect. Second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, done deal. I'll sign the resolution. Clint. And I'll sign the permits. Yeah, it's gotta be notarized, so I'll sign this either tonight or first of the week and we can get a deal.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
All right. Now, let's just go down the, do we still need to take item B out of order? Okay. Next item we're going to move to is item 5B, which is ordinance number 2024-06, enacting the compensation increase for specific city employees. So this was on the agenda last month, you may remember. And basically just allowing, what am I trying to say? Basically showing the possible increase that employees may receive it was all passed and approved last meeting. We just need to pass the actual ordinance that accepts and makes that official. Is there any other questions or concerns on that item that we should talk about tonight? If not, I'll take a motion to approve ordinance number 2024-06.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2024-06.
Okay,
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Done deal. Thank you. I'll sign that one. Okay. That gets rid of those. Okay, let's go to the public hearings. The amended budget, item A, under public hearings. The amended budget for 2023 and 24, which is the budget we're currently operating in. You should have a copy in your packet. So basically, Suzanne has gone through and ensured that, you know, all of the items within the budget, basically make sure the budget balances and make sure that the numbers are accurate as far as what was budgeted and what was spent within those budgets. So anything specific that we need to point out that you can think of that I'm not right now?
Just those minor changes and showing is gonna help things.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things that need to be changed in order to make everything balanced, that Dolores has noticed. And basically there's more than just Suzanne's eyes that hit these. I review them, although I'm not as well versed as some. And then we always send it through Dolores and get their eyes on it too, to make sure that everything balances and make sure that we're not holding money over that we can't legally hold over and things like that, so our percentages aren't too high. So that when we have our audit, it's clean. You'll see on the line that says revised budget, those are the amounts that the budget was changed by on that line item in order to make it. Do we want to read those changes that Dolores is suggesting, or do we want to? I'm just thinking if we have those, then we can approve the amended budget.
Okay, she said it looks like on the 2024 budget, the general fund make-over budget with some amendments, which I don't know, because I had it under the 35%, so I need to talk with her on that. I would recommend amending the parks capital outlay where it looks like we have a large amount of expenses. And the water fund is also over budget already, so that will need some amendments too, probably more specifically the water system and maintenance of that is well over budget.
Yeah, which is really common with the water system anyway. It's been consistently over budget for, I think, 100 years.
Well, we did the 1,000 each project, so that's probably.
Right. That's certainly. 1,000 east projects.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so with that, we can make a motion to pass the amended budget with those corrections, if you're comfortable with that.
I'll make a motion that we pass the amended budget with what's been produced to us, plus the recommended changes from the, is that the county?
Yeah.
Our county, outside the county.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, I missed you. Will you make that motion again?
I'll repeat it that way.
You don't have to.
To approve resolution number.
Yeah, make it this way.
Oh,
We can just approve resolution 2024-04 with the corrections suggested by.
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-04 with the amended corrections from our outside accounting firm.
Perfect. Now is our second.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay.
But is it 2020-04 or 2005?
2024-04.
05 would be the new.
Yes.
Oh, that's the new, okay, yes, I'll second
Okay,
that. I'm just on the wrong page.
this is, we'll roll call this. The mayor is aye. Shannon?
Aye.
Clayton?
Aye.
Oops, sorry, I jumped out of order. Sam
Aye.
and Clinton.
Aye.
All right. Pass that one down. Thank you. Okay. Oh, we didn't officially open the public hearing.
Well, there's no public. Can they zoom in? Are they tapping on your
No, they
viewer?
can't. No comment, so,
So wait, oh yeah, because you have to do it before you can motion.
yeah. Okay,
Okay, so just go back.
so we're gonna rescind that motion and the passing of that resolution and open the public hearing on that. I don't know, do we? How does that work?
I never had to do
The mayor is not smart enough to figure out.
I will make a motion to resend Sam's request, Sam's motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, my apologies. Let's go ahead and open the public hearing for the amended budget and resolution 2024-04.
I'm really interested, okay.
Seeing there's no public present, we'll close the public hearing. And now I'll accept a motion. How about you make this one 3 or 4 times?
I'll make a vote.
Well, we can just make the same motion.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution number 2024-04 with in addition to the amended recommendation from our outside accounting firm.
Perfect. Shannon?
I'll second that.
Okay. Does anyone want to change their vote? Okay.
Aye.
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 I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Okay, now let's go to the tentative budget. This is for the upcoming fiscal year. This is also a ton of work for Suzanne, and there's a ton of estimating that goes into this, a ton of research, a lot of crunching numbers, trying to make sure that everything is properly funded and wages are properly funded, and so the city operates as it should. Now, of course, we can always amend the budget if we need to, but the goal is to budget properly so that each line item, each department within the city has the money that it needs to operate, and so that we have the ability to just use what's budgeted. We've included in this budget the possible pay increases so that if those pay increases are approved, then staff will get those increases without affecting the budget. So that's all figured in. I don't think there's anything huge that we need to point out. We've changed the budget slightly so that grants that come in are under a specific line item now that covers just that grant, so we can more easily track that money. Anything else specifically?
I just had a question for my knowledge. Under building and grounds, capital outlay for RAP/restaurant?
That's a tax grant.
What's that? Is that to help us build a restaurant?
No, that's
Restaurant tax,
Yeah.
so there's,
so it's money that comes from the restaurant tax that they use as a grant.
Okay.
So in Summit County, there's a 1% grant or 1% tax on restaurant food.
Uh-huh.
And that goes into this grant. And then we have used it recently, we applied for that grant and used it for Frontier Days. So like the awning that we're building on the concessions, that's coming from that restaurant tax grant money.
Okay.
and that money has to live.
Right. So
Didn't know we had a restaurant.
So that shows in your 20,
but that one actually shows in the money.
I saw
our
that.
current year.
So it's Summit County.
It's all of Summit
All of
County's
Summit
restaurants.
County's restaurants.
And so it comes from every restaurant in the county.
Clint buys a lot of burgers on.
I'm gonna say Clint's buying a whole lot of 7-Eleven.
Right.
The Frontier Cafe.
Anything else specifically that I need to address on the tentative budget?
Joe, we agree with the other comments from
Yes, please.
Forrest, which I need to call Dr.
This is concerning the tentative budget,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because she says for the 2025 budget, it looks like we had transfers to and from and several funds. I thought we matching to and from the other funds. I'm not sure what she means. I tried to match those, but we need to be reviewed for each fund. If we have a transfer to budgeted in one fund, whichever fund that is being transferred to needs to have the same amount in their transfer fund budget line. Also, the depreciation wasn't budgeted for in the water fund and was under budget in the sewer fund. I updated both of those as well as balance the Frontier Days budget. For the budget transfer, I would suggest around $300,000 to give a better cushion. So I don't have to talk to her, but I don't know what she's talking about.
Okay. And then remind me, so this tentative budget, if we approve it tonight, or do we have one more?
You were doing it the same way we just did the amended budget.
Right, but where I'm going is this, we don't have, this is the last meeting before it becomes the actual budget, the operating budget of the year, so.
This makes it an operating budget.
So
That
we're
can be
just,
amended.
I don't think you could do that at work.
I just did.
Yeah, kind of like grievance.
She's on the side of the camera, nobody saw her.
Okay, so, we can direct Suzanne to work with Boris and make sure that those directions are made. Otherwise, this should cover all of our expenses and revenues. Obviously, our revenues are a pretty good guess. We're just hoping that we're, getting those correct, but, generally speaking, Suzanne does an excellent job on the budget, and we usually end up in a great position. Our audits have rarely had any issues with them, and there's, when we do have something found in an audit, it's super minor. So, I'm comfortable with where the budget is currently.
Public hearing.
Any questions?
Public hearing. Don't forget to open public
I
hearing.
will open the public hearing. So if there's no other questions from council, we'll open the public hearing for the tentative budget and resolution number 2024-05. Seeing there's no public, we'll close the public hearing and entertain a motion on the tentative budget and resolution 2024-05.
A motion to pass 2024-05.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, this is also a roll call. Mayor is aye. Shanna?
I know. Do you want to say with the changes?
Ooh. Yeah.
With the amended changes from outside.
With the suggested changes. Who made that motion?
The motion was passed 2024-05 with recommended changes from outside the county.
Perfect.
I'll second.
Still got a second? Okay. The mayor's aye. Shanna?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
Clayton? Aye. Clint?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Well, all right. At least I didn't forget 2 public hearings.
Should remind me of the first one.
You should.
It's not my item, so I'm just like, let's hear it.
No. I think that's an indication of something that should change. Okay. Last discussion on Frontier Days. Any updates on Frontier Days or things that we need to be thinking about? Have you guys?
Katie, how do you know? We've already got 10 to 12 chickens for the chicken chase.
Ooh. I like
If I don't lose this, no, I'll stick it on my fridge.
I like
That's why I'm giving it to you. Because I don't have it.
It's not
It's in your hands now.
Perfect. Anything else? Sorry. I'm gonna quit asking questions and then continue to talk, so.
You talked to corn dog guys and everything?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I did get you.
He did tell me he's planning on being there.
I've been out of town for quite a bit. I haven't had a chance to.
Okay.
I got a call from Extreme Party Innovations. And then they sent me an email. They have bounce houses. I don't know if we're interested, but who usually takes care of that?
Antini.
Antini, yeah, I think we already did.
It's already done? Okay, then I'll just trash this. Perfect. That's fantastic. The only other question I had was, Clint, have you talked to Shane?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have the details of that worked out, and can we add that? Where should we add that on the schedule?
So we're doing one on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
He's working on it, so he spoke with him 2 weeks ago was the last time.
Okay.
He appreciates, he wants to be involved, so. he said
Okay,
it's
so-
funny.
Does everyone know what we're talking about? The Lions Club wanted to do their shoot as part of this. Okay, so let's get that ironed out as quickly as possible, just so we can get it on the, hello? Well, that's all right.
It's like, you know, everybody.
I mean, you're welcome to stay, this is. an
You can
awesome
say
party.
you're only public if you want to come in.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, just work that out as quick as we can, so we get it on the schedule, so that it all reflects.
CAG designer, the details for the veterans thing.
Okay.
I'll be getting with Ted, kind of getting a life sketch, and then I'll order the little flags and the plaques.
Okay.
Bunch of deals for away.
What did you say, Kevin was doing?
Just the flags, the
Okay.
shows over here.
We're, probably need to finalize the schedule pretty soon. I think we're pretty like 99% there, but I do need the days and times for the shoot.
Okay, I'll get that.
Also, for the concession stand, we're gonna change any of the times from last year. Need to know about that.
You need the times?
Yeah, we put the times on our schedule last year, when the concessions is open.
Okay, we'll talk about that. I don't know what they are, but we'll talk about it.
And then the movie, we're gonna add that to the schedule too.
Did we pick one?
I think that's what the committees are gonna do, but so far, just the 2 ladies that I have. Do we know? Sam, you're on the committee also, right?
The committee member I had was,
Yeah. You got my text.
yeah,
Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be here for Frontier Days. I've got to be back in California. Work is jumped up and we've got a treatment plant going down for the 3-week window and it's right in that.
Do you know when you signed on, nobody gets one of your days?
exactly. What is up with that? I don't, look, you can lose $1 million on this job. It doesn't bother us at all.
I can tell. I can tell. So,
You're retired, Sam.
I can help up until 2 weeks before.
You're taking care of all the signage and everything, Griffin County, we discussed last month, right?
The signage? We discussed signage last month, was it?
Yeah, where you're having your restrooms and your first aid and all
I
of
don't
that.
remember that conversation at all. You had that with me?
We had it in the meeting, yes.
This is for the food
Yes.
stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna talk to you about that, because I'm not gonna be here for that.
Well,
I can't
so
get a person in contact.
you won't
I can't
have to.
schedule the inspections
You won't have to.
that I did last year.
My brother,
Well,
I'm sure my brother's gonna do that, so.
I
Well, he
did.
volunteered, so I guess he don't have to, but he did volunteer, so if someone has a problem with that, say so now, we'll call it off, but
No, I think it's good.
I'm generally saying, hey, if someone volunteers, it's.
He volunteered for the rest of his life, right?
Right, well, that's what we think, I don't know.
Okay, that's it, he's done.
So he's willing to do that, we'll get the paperwork and get everything set up, but yeah, he can probably take care of most of that, but you guys just need to.
I'll get a file together and bring it to you, Suzanne. And with the list of food we got from Food Town, all that stuff.
So do you have the book?
What?
I wonder.
All the food and everything, we used to have a book, and I think it was a little blue binder.
I have my own spreadsheets that I made up.
Bob Murphy had it.
Bob may have it. We'll have to look.
Yeah.
Okay, anything
You know,
else?
this is surrender my key.
Anything else on Frontier Days? The rodeo contract, we signed that should be good to go. We'll start getting all the prizes ordered and all that stuff. We still need to look at that restaurant, the grant money, and see how much we want to break up, because we can add some to the events, depending upon what money is available for, because it included prizes, it included advertising and some things, so some of that money we can use for prizes.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Are you gonna decide how you wanna spend the advertising money and the prize money? I think we got 200 or 62.4, something. Anyway, we got quite a bit of money, and most of that is supposed to go to the awning for the concessions, so we can grow under the awning. But there is probably, I'm thinking about 8,000 for marketing. And you can kind of choose how you want to break that up a little bit, but we do need to use probably about 8 for marketing, and then I think 15 for prizes.
This says 67.4, is that?
67.4, that is it. So I was, 67.4 is what we have.
Can we use a small portion for prize money for the talent show?
We
Or is
didn't put that in the grant, but I think there's other budgets for Frontier Days that we could use. Correct me if I'm wrong, Suzanne, but I think there's other money for Frontier Days for prizes for the talent show.
Did we specifically say rodeo prizes, or did we say prizes?
Yeah, we were pretty clear in our application on how we wanted to spend that. We were gonna do 1,000 for each event, the main rodeo, and then we're gonna buy the buckles and jackets for the, or Bucks Horns and Bulls.
$250.
Oh, we can find that.
I was gonna say, you can do the Grandma Rocky Mountain Power for 4,000 again.
Yeah.
Well, they already sponsored Frontier Days this year.
Oh, they did? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
We can find that, or we can get 250 should be too big a deal. So we need to work that out as far as how much we want to spend there. What else was I thinking about? Oh, advertising with, oh my gosh,
Oxygen.
oxygen. Apparently my brain is lacking that tonight.
It's gonna be-
We spent quite a bit of money last year with oxygen marketing. They did the radio ads and some of those things. I think personally, I think there's still some value in utilizing their services. They put together some really good stuff. But we did the survey, as you remember, and while it wasn't a huge survey, there was at least, I think, a couple hundred people
I think you're on 150, 160.
so 150 people that responded to the survey, and very few of those said that they heard about Frontier Days via the radio. it's a pretty small sampling, so I don't know that you can take that as 100%, like, the radio didn't do us any good. But I guess the question is, do we want to continue with the radio ads as aggressively as last year? Or do we want to spend that money on some other advertising options like posters or other things? I'm not saying one way or the other is best, I'm just posing the question.
I know a lot of that money wasn't just the radio, they said email out.
Right, for sure, yeah, it's not all just radio, for sure.
We just asked about radio.
Right.
Let me see if I can find those results. You can keep talking, but I'll.
I think we'd be better off advertising it like Oakley Rodeo,
So,
stuff like that, than we would being on the radio personally.
Yeah, the main focus of our advertising for the grant should be out of county, so we're trying to get people that are outside the county to come. Now, the Oakley Rodeo might be.
Well, the Oakley Rodeo is pretty much attended by everyone out of the county.
Exactly, that's.
yeah. And I have our 6 queens.
Right.
They're going to the Oakley Rodeo, they're in the Oakley Rodeo Parade. I can send them to Evanston a few times. And I'm gonna make them work for their money. So
Great.
that will help. And I don't know how, I mean, I guess I could probably figure it out. I'm not really that dumb. If I could get them to talk, like on a radio, on the morning show of Channel 2 or something. I don't, do we pay, or do we just say, hey, can my queens come? I don't know. Does anybody know if it costs to have my queens go there one morning right before Frontier Days? Or even Camas, I mean, because they're over both of them. We could have them go twice.
I mean, I think we could do like a KPCW thing pretty easily.
The Park City one, yeah.
But that, I think that one would probably be free,
Inside.
and it's inside the county, but I
Right,
don't think that would
yeah.
cost us money.
Yeah.
So I think that's effective advertising, I think we should look into that. As far as outside the county advertising, which is part of the grant, I don't know the answer whether that costs us.
Okay, I'll see if I can do some
It's
research
something we can
and
find
see,
out.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and see if they can go, you know, 'cause-
Well, Oxygen should be able to tell us.
oh, okay, and yeah, because they'll do whatever I tell them to do. They're pretty,
Well, there's no reason you couldn't put up flyers around the county fair.
For sure.
yeah,
Absolutely. So we can definitely designate some of that money for that. The real question is, and maybe the answer is no. The real question is, do we want to divert some of the money that was going to the radio to something else? Or do we want to continue using the radio as aggressively as they did last year? We can, and like Suzanne pointed out, all of the money that went to Oxygen was not for the radio, it was for other things as well, so.
Well, I think a lot of people listen to radio nowadays.
I was just gonna say that same thing. A
For sure.
lot of the younger people, they just hook their phone in.
Yeah, I mean, I rarely listen to a radio station.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's
Yeah, that
actually
was definitely-
worth it.
It's like the smallest percentage last year was radio. Biggest was word of mouth, and then event posters and flyers is pretty significant. Facebook, the website, also pretty small. The other, please specify. Let's see if we got that list. It's just this kind of stuff, I don't know, maybe. This was what they mentioned, I think, I can't remember what we did here.
So the bigger they are, the more they mentioned it,
Yeah,
their family.
yeah, they said,
stuff like that.
like, other, why they came, family, New Year's, tradition, just live here. We go every year, so it's just probably more of like
Okay.
what they do every
A
year.
tradition or something, okay.
So maybe we can look at the breakdown and see what we're paying for just radio, but maybe we continue, maybe we don't look at that cost. And
Okay.
maybe we divert some of that to flyers. I mean, flyers is a big deal, so, you know, a nice flyer, a nice poster at the fair, you know, not just one, but multiple around in different areas at Oakley, Camas, you know, even Evanston and some of those places, it's sort of not.
I think we need to get it up like now.
We definitely need to get them up pretty soon. It would behoove us to have those ready, to be posted over the 4th of July weekend now. I don't know if we can actually get that.
I talked to
close. but-
Yeah, it's kind of getting close. I talked to Oakley a couple years ago about us sponsoring. It was expensive. I remember it was super expensive. And it was kind of, I remember it was maybe late May, early June, and they're like, yeah, it's a little late. I don't know if we can, I don't know what we can do. We ended up not doing anything because it was really expensive and it was a little close, but.
I do have our queens, they won't let the princesses, but the queens are running in the grand entry at Oakley for 2 nights, the 3rd and 4th. So if I could maybe say maybe I'll write something, have an announcer say, hey, come on out, this is our Queen of Francis, and it's only, just something quick. So we'll have 2 nights of
Yeah,
that advertisement, so.
It's quite the production. I remember them saying, we already have most of our script written, but maybe we can squeeze you in somewhere, or something like that. Yeah.
I think last year we did, we had the Oakley Rodeo, or the parade, right? I got an email last week about registering for that. We were in it last night.
That's good, you got it. Yay, we got
I'm
it.
gonna be out of town, so someone else wants to, we can figure out if we wanna have a float or something, but I'm in Texas. But we probably wanna render that, I need to get back to that as soon as possible.
Yeah,
That is that's a good way to advertise it also.
so my disclaimer on that is I think we should if we can, but, plain out, my job will require me to be there in probably 5 different capacities, so.
And not as the mayor.
Yeah, not as the mayor.
Like you're probably on an engine, right?
Probably.
Well, it might come down to the.
Suzanne walked out with a crutch.
There you go.
Still can't get her other.
Hopefully may come down to the Queens on this deal. As much as I don't absolutely love that, it's the way it is, so. All
Or I
right,
drive a vehicle, if we got people that can throw the candy, or whatever.
Well, it sounds like it would just be me and you, unless we thought Katie and her husband. Maybe the planning committee, would they want to
The
be?
planning commission might, I'll be out of town, so I won't be able to make it, but maybe the planning
so we
commission.
can certainly include the planning commission and should include the planning commission.
Okay, I'll,
So see if there's someone
If they're
available.
willing, then.
That'd be great.
okay.
And we buy a bunch of candy, because we bought a bunch.
And we run out.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else frontier days wise?
We still have the banners, right?
Yeah.
For the,
Yeah.
They're
yes.
Do we
you have the banners, please?
I got it.
Could you have Susie do the first games again? 'Cause I still don't have a sub. I had one, and she pretty well another one.
I'll ask her.
I was really mad. It happened today. I trained for 2 weeks and now she's doing one another round, so.
Okay, I'll.
And see if she can, and if, she did a really good job, and if she's willing.
I'm sure she will.
Okay.
Do you have is the barrel race coming?
The barrel race is coming,
Perfect.
and I have Buckles sponsor.
Oh, great, who did that?
The New West, no, Bolt, the Bolt store.
Great, good.
Should we reach out to them about sponsoring anything else? Well, I just don't know where we're at on that. I think we're gonna send out some letters soon, so I don't wanna send one if you feel like.
Probably not.
Shouldn't.
Let's see what they've done so far, value wise, and I don't wanna over ask. Over asking is a bad thing.
Right, I wanna be appreciative.
Yeah. They're super willing to give, they give to just about everything, so.
Oh, they do. They wasn't supposed to give to this barrel race, but me and Nancy got confused. And then Jenny just stepped up and said, oh, yes, I will buy 4 buckles for her. That's not,
Right.
and I was like, we're good.
That's just kind of.
They're
that's why I wanna be
very good
careful about
people, yeah.
asking.
Okay, I'll just let MTV know not to send that letter, and then if you guys wanna reach out to them separately, I'll leave that to you.
I like it. What else?
Have we decided on what movie?
No, we should do that.
Should we do that now so we can get the,
Decide that, Clint? You said the committee was gonna talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
oh, okay, okay.
Good. maybe, we should just have, as far as who is the committee? Because the ones I was hoping that is no bill, so whatever committee we have is what you have.
So it's my wife and one lady down the street, a friend, and a possible other,
Okay,
possibly three.
so maybe, if you would get with them, technically, we're supposed to notice those meetings, but if you wanna kind of get them together, we can have Suzanne notice a meeting of the Frontier Days Committee. They can just kind of sort of get organized, and then we can have them in the next meeting here, in July. We can make the decision, like, we can put the schedule out that says moving the park, it doesn't have to have the title yet, you know what I mean, like on the flyer. But if they're here for July meeting, then we don't have to have a separate committee meeting, we can just talk about anything that they need to talk about during that meeting. Does that work for everyone? Rather than having Suzanne notice a separate meeting all the time and all that stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Anything else? Before we move on, I mean, we can sit here all night if you want, but it's only 7 o'clock and we can get out of here, it's pretty cool. Okay, council reports? Are there any? Okay, planner reports, are there any?
No, not really. The Burton Ranch annexation is going to the planning commission next week, so you might see that in July, maybe next month. I don't know. We'll see how that goes with the planning commission.
Engineer reports?
Okay, the the temporary power is in place, and the tank hooked up, just waiting for the final operating permit from the state. Other than that, what is Francis Gate, it's really going to town on the road.
Man, holy cow.
So that's their big concentration right is now, get the road built so they can get the water line in. So they can try and-
They are using a lot of water. Are they sending you a ticket every day, like
We have a
12 times a day?
We have a meter, so.
Okay.
They have to pay for meter daily and what they use, so.
Okay, my grandson just goes out and talks to him all the time. How come you're on top of that truck? Don't fall in.
Hey Scott, don't forget, you're gonna talk about ADU, water and sewer lines.
Oh, that's right. I'm good about that one. So, right now with, ADUs, we,
Accessory dwelling unit.
yeah, we require them to have their own separate water and sewer connection.
Right.
With the way that the state's going, ADUs are becoming more permitted, all that kind of stuff. We and Katie are wondering, do we want to keep that same position? It does require them to go out and cut the road again. The whole reason we did the separate sewer connections was that if, you know, the house here, you have a rental, if the front guy plugged it, this guy backed up, you know, they come talk to the city, that, you know, it could be contentious, but it's not our responsibility. Their laterals, the responsibility from the main line to their house. So we kind of did that, but, you know, a 4-inch lateral can handle a house and another house, you know, depending on, you know, not if there's 100 people, but, you know, 2 houses or 2, you know, apartment,
Yeah,
you're fine. I'd still recommend that if we do it that way, that we still charge them 2 water connections, 2 sewer connections, but they could be the same meter, the same sewer line.
collect the fee, but not
Yeah.
but they
Like-
know the expense.
Like Troy Hills and Francis Gate, you know, they were asking about it, and we're like, yeah, you have to go out and cut the road, but some of that sewer is pretty deep. And then you're cutting a new road, you know, maybe 5-6 years after it's built, do we really want that? Or do we want to maybe start looking at changing that code so that they could use their existing sewer lateral and water, but they still would have, water connection and all that. They'd stop getting 2 bills, one for the house, one for the.
So we wouldn't meter them separately for the water.
Right.
They just always pay 93 for the accessory dwelling and then their other bill.
Yeah, that would be the question, is how would it be billed? Would they be paying 2 bills
Exactly.
on 1 meter?
Yeah.
Or does it just get one, because that's where it could get sticky, right? Like if,
Instead of paying
it's gonna always put them in overage.
Right, well,
Or do they get allowed
if they're paying 2 water connections, they get,
2 base rates?
they get 2 insurance, so they can use
Yeah.
more water without having to go.
As long as we can account for that, I don't.
So
Yeah,
that's,
I think it's easy to do with the accounting, instead of, one, we just charge them, we set up a new thing for 2, and this is how much water they get, and this is what they get charged, and then 2 sewer connections.
Could you, just a question, could you save money if you did that? Like just as a normal person, I'll get 2 connections and I can use 300,000 gallons of water, and it's cheaper for me than going over 100.
well, I don't think they can do that unless they have an accessory building or a rental.
Well, if nobody's in there, how do you know?
You might save a little
In
bit.
today's day, I think you could rent my
So
garage
you
out.
get 15,000 gallons, so you get 30,000 gallons,
But you're still paying,
and you start average from there, so I don't know, you'd save a little bit.
potentially, but it's hard, you'd have to do that math, I don't know. It's a good question though.
Because that's exactly what my mom does in Camas. She has her house and then the trailer right next to it. And she just pays a double water bill.
Yeah.
And she has double, like 10,000, so she has 20. I don't know if that's the right amount.
Right.
So it
Still.
is doable, but
You're still paying for it, it just may not, yeah, it's a different rate, so it's hard to say. You might be saving a little, or you might not.
You might save a little bit, because we try to set the rates so that the, 15,000 gallons is kind of the same as, close to when you go from the 5 to 10. But once you start going over, they're going to get a little bit of money. So you might get a little bit of break if you use a lot of water, but it's still going to cost you.
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
I just hate somebody to be watering their lawn every day with their ADU water and they're not.
I mean, would it be a lot of water every day? We still have to
Well,
follow the schedule.
They're supposed to, but we don't have to.
Yeah, enforcement.
Hey, you have a little more.
No,
Yeah, I just drive around all day, checking the
Shannon's
streets.
not watering.
Yeah.
I'm on water enforcement, remember? Hey, hey. I sent you pictures.
Can we add that to your mail wagon? US Mail and.
US Mail and water switch or whatever you call it.
I was gonna ask too, Scott, what's the schedule for repaving Southeast?
One of the culverts, the pipe got back ordered, so they're hoping to be here in the middle of July. So, hoping to be done by end of this month, but one of the pipes, we found an irrigation pipe that we didn't know about. The box is over on this property line, the box is over on this property line. Once it collapsed this spring, we found it, so.
Well, one thing about it, once we get it repaired, it'll be the Indy 500 again, and
Yeah.
we will stop hearing complaints about potholes and start hearing complaints about speed.
So is that something you want us to look at, code changing that for the ADU?
I'm comfortable looking at it, I don't know about everyone else, but it makes sense.
It saves us having a bunch of holes in the road, it's probably worth looking at.
Yeah, I think so, especially if, like if somebody was to do it up a foothill where the sewer is, 18 feet deep, and they gotta go out and tie into the lateral,
That sucker's gonna settle.
it's gonna settle eventually.
18 feet, you're
And
saying.
then it'll be, 5 years after the warranty's gone, or even 2, but, so. Okay,
Perfect.
that's all I have.
All right,
I have a question for Scott or Jeremy, whoever.
yeah, go ahead.
The roads on Rockview, Circle, Rockview, whatever,
Is that
are they
Stewart?
our roads yet? Because they are like a roller coaster. They're really bad.
That's,
Stewart, right?
yeah, that's one of the things we're,
Going into Stewart, yeah.
Wait,
those are our roads, we tried to, I don't know if you remember Jan, tried to find, go after the guys.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the one from, yeah, the one that Tiny and those guys did.
yeah, tiny and, yeah,
So that's
Yeah,
one of the
right,
goals in next year's budget.
Those were all I had.
okay, I just,
But the ones inside Stewart's are not yet.
No, we haven't accepted any of those yet.
okay, I knew those ones had it, but
Yeah.
I bet we've accepted those a long time ago. Just my packages fall down every day when I try to put them up.
Quit driving like an Indy 500 driver.
I know.
I know between those mailboxes.
I'm about done at that time of day, so I'm worried.
All right, the only thing I have, well, two things. Obviously, you see the buildings coming right along, things are moving well there. If you get a minute, you'll walk through it and check it out. It looks small from the outside to me now, but
Are we gonna have an open house and stuff for the public when it
I
gets
think
done?
so. Yeah, we'll
I
see
think
what,
that might be a
yeah, we'll
good
see
idea.
what happens, but I think so. The other thing I would like to work on is, I'd like to get with the county historian and maybe the Camas Valley History Group or whatever it's called. I can't, that butcher their name, I'm sure, but, yeah, I'd like to get some historical photos.
Old
and things
pictures,
that-
yeah.
That come from mostly Francis, but even around the valley.
I
Have
think
a
maybe reach out
space.
to Phil, is it Phil? I think Phil Clegg is kind of over that.
I don't know.
I'll pull in the cousin thing and tell him.
But it'd be nice to have some, historical photos, have a space in the foyer walls that would kind of display the history of the town. Other than that, Bob Murphy has resigned from planning commission. And so we'll be looking to fill planning commission seat here real soon. As part of that, there's no public here, but I'd like to publicly thank Bob for his service. Spent some years on the planning commission. And he's one of those who was very passionate about what he was doing and he cared about the city. Didn't always agree with his opinions, but that's part of the point of having people on that commission that see things differently and point out things that others aren't thinking about. So anyway, he spent a lot of time there and we appreciate, or at least I appreciate as the mayor, his service there. So maybe he's listening. If not, anyway, thanks Bob for your service to the city. So that's all I've got.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved to adjourn. It's also been seconded. Are there any opposed? Clint almost said aye.
So Clint, you want to stay longer?
All right, thanks.